We're in Desert Hot Springs right now. There was something in the news today about a pet cemetery being incorporated into a human cemetery, which has always been a law for it not to be. And I guess they're changing the law so you can be buried with your pets now, even though usually pets are cremated, and I don't see what the issue was. But anyway, it was a technicality, so they're supposedly working through getting rid of that and being able to be buried with your pets. So did a little bit of a look around, and I found a pet cemetery here in Desert Hot Springs, which I was really surprised by. Of course, I looked around it online, and the first thing I see is my friend Jordan the Lion. He'd done something about this a few years ago, but I wanted to see it for myself and show you guys for myself. And we came out here, and it's windy as hell. There's a gardener in here which is going to be whipping weeds, and it's going to be louder than heck. So I'm just going to do some video recording in here. There's a couple of famous pets that are in this place. It looks like it's seen better days, and I have a theory about what's going to happen to this place. But it is sitting here, and the lawn is being maintained, but the area is rather, I don't know, not so much. But we're going to go in and have a look. So we're going to see how this goes with the wind. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me pretty well. But this is the pet cemetery here in Desert Hot Springs. I just spent a significant amount of time talking to Chuck Stewart, or Charles Stewart, who is the grandson of the man who founded this place. And he showed me around a little bit, and then we're going to take a walk through here. He was very kind, and I'll tell you a little bit more about him as we get to a quiet place. Before we go in, you should be made aware that the harsh desert sun and the hard water from the sprinklers causes calcium damage, and some of the markers are completely illegible. Some markers have sunken under the surface level and have to be found and brought back from under the ground. These things are happening. It's just a slow process. So this pet cemetery's been here since 1964. And I was talking to Chuck, and he was telling me about how they're trying really hard to get things going here again. You can see it's seen better days, but better days are ahead for it too. It's interesting. So there are several people prominent people who have their animals here. This place has been around, this pet cemetery has been around since 1964. But there was a place here before this called Dogtown, and they had pet grooming and a pet shop, and Dogtown eventually morphed into this cemetery as well, and now the other stuff is gone, and the cemetery is what's left, and Chuck is the guy that's been doing all the work here. These are Champ Williamson, my Buster Boy Williamson. So these are the animals that belong to Fred Williamson, who was nicknamed the Hammer. Tiny dive into the career of Fred Williamson, a pro football player with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Oakland Raiders, and the Kansas City Chiefs. He starred in dozens of movies, most notably the original film MASH and the King Cobra movie series, which were action movies, as well as blaxploitation films, 3 the Hard Way, Crazy Joe, Hell Up in Harlem, and Black Caesar. Yeah, with the recent floods, this place needs a little bit of work. A lot of the stones in this place have been buried over the years. Chuck was saying that he walks around with a piece of steel trying to find all the markers. He takes what he's doing very seriously by maintaining this place, and he feels a real responsibility to maintaining the animals that have been entrusted with this family. So as you can see, the centerpiece of the cemetery is this flag and memorial. And Chuck was saying to me that there are service dogs in here, canine police dogs. And he also explained that his grandfather and his father and uncle, this is a family business, and this is a marker to commemorate the founders of the cemetery, which is called Pet Haven, but they're going to go back to Dogtown. It looks like Dogtown is going to be what it's going to be called, and I like that idea. I think it's a good name for it. This place could use a little bit of love. So there are dignitary dogs out here. Although dogs are important to their owners. All dogs are important to their owners. But these, very seldom, he was telling me there might be lions out here and snakes. But over here, probably the most famous dog is right here. Liberty Ford. Liberty Ford is the dog of Gerald Ford and Betty Ford. Their dogs when they were in the White House. And Liberty Ford, golden retriever looks like, truly golden lady, was the only dog to ever give birth in the White House. And one of Liberty's puppies is Misty, who's buried next door. Now, Liberty died in '86, Misty died in '87, so Misty only lived a year after her mom. But yeah, the Fords. I heard that Michael Landon has a dog in here. It's hard to find that because he doesn't have the records with him. He doesn't have access to it. I'm going to come back in a month or so and interview him in person. And he promised to sort of dig up some interesting things about the cemetery. He's going to talk to his dad and be able to do an interview about this place and how he, the help they could use. And he's certainly not begging for money, not at all. But he's enthusiastic about keeping this place going and caring for it because he takes his job very seriously about caring for these animals who have been entrusted with them. They have been entrusted with, let's say that. Ming Toy. Lily and Daisy. Shadow. Now over here is Van Heusen's dogs. And Van Heusen, let's see, where is he? Here they are. Bo Van Heusen. He was a songwriter, musician, who wrote the music for things like Pocket Full of Miracles, High Hopes, My Kind of Town Chicago Is, and Swinging on a Star. So the Van Heusen animals are out here. Or would you rather be a fish? But I know that as I said, I know that he cares a great deal about what he's doing here. And wants the animals to be cared for with dignity. And it looks like that's exactly what's happening. It's just taking them a little bit longer than he'd like. And over here are Liberace's animals. Lovely. Chow. Lovely.
These are some of my dogs. I say some because there's still a couple of more. Most of my dogs have been given to me by people who really didn't want them. Prego. Come here, Prego. Come here, Prego. Come on. Come on, love. This is Prego. He's a German Schnauzer with an Italian name, Prego, which means you're welcome in Italian. Elkie, come here, darling. Elkie, come here. This is Elkie.
Prego. There's lions out here. Oh, he told me a great story about a cat. And Troy had heard this story too. Samantha, a National Award, American Humane Association. This cat is responsible for saving lives. Apparently there's a fire and in an apartment building, and Samantha was making a lot of noise and woke up the residents of the building and saved many people's lives. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that in an article. Samantha was a black cat. It was a stray who was adopted by a woman named Francesca. And one night in 1971, in the middle of the night, Francesca was woken up by Samantha. Samantha was mewing really loudly, kept pawing at her, pulled back her covers, kept nudging her until she woke up. And Francesca stepped on the floor and noticed it was hot. That alerted her that something was very wrong. She contacted the fire department. Ultimately, 44 people walked out of that apartment building, and the building was burnt to the ground. So Samantha saved 44 lives, and she was given the Medal for Heroism by the American Humane Society. I love some of these names. Herbie. Stony. But after talking to him, I knew his heart's in this place. Oh, I know what I wanted to show you. He was telling me how, you could buy a grave here, and people are actually buying markers on Amazon. And I want to show you an example of what Amazon sells. Beethoven, Bambi, Casey and Toby, Noel and Noel, Nova, Miss Lucy, Little Princess. Tom and Jerry both passed away in 2022. So these are the stones that they're selling on Amazon. They're really cute. I don't know how they do longevity-wise because they seem to be printed on the markers. And with the water out here being so heavy, as you saw in a lot of the markers, I'm not sure how they'll weather, but they sure look nice. Kika, the Walker Kitties, Black and Coco, Roofy, Tiger, Tuffy, and Fluffer, Richard and Claire. How nice. Stranger. Oh, look at that hate. I wonder if that must be San Francisco. Although 93 to 2002. What a black pink street cat. Sophie. Tie-tie. You left your paw prints all over my heart. Mr. Sunny. Puccinetta. Yakita Puccinetta. Sparky and Lily. I love pet cemeteries. There is that one, the really famous one, it's in Calabasas. Maybe we'll go there one day. That's the one where Valentino and Lauren Bacall and Bogart and I know Adam Sandler, and there's tons of celebrity graves out that way. And isn't that sweet? Bailey, our beloved protector, right at the gates of the cemetery. Let's hear it for Dogtown. So thanks, Charles, for your information and for sharing that with me. I'll be back to talk to Charles after this video comes out, probably in a month or so. A quick shout out to my newest Patreon subscribers: Ada Stolsteimer, Jamie Black, Stacy Redden, Alexandria Mary, Ms. Marquand, Melissa Presley, Maria Luna Ramirez, The 22nd Day, Sharon Swanson, and Jamie Otto. I appreciate everyone watching and maybe watching an ad, but I appreciate you Patreon and PayPal supporters even more because your contributions make my job a job. And I'm able to do this. And I thank you so much, and everyone, for your time and for your attention. Until next time. You heard me.